At 58 years old, Michael Turner discovered something terrifying. He had worked almost his entire life and still could not answer one simple question. How long could I survive if my paycheck stopped tomorrow? That question destroyed his sleep, because for the first time in decades, he stopped lying to himself. Michael was not poor. That was the dangerous part. Poor people know they are struggling. Rich people know they have options. But middle-class people often live inside a very expensive illusion. An illusion built from paychecks, car payments, subscriptions, credit cards, and the hope that somehow everything will keep working forever. Michael had done everything America told him to do. He went to college, got a stable job, worked 34 years in supply chain management, raised 2 kids, paid for soccer practice, helped his parents financially, made mortgage payments on time, stayed responsible, avoided major mistakes. And yet, one rainy Thursday night, he sat alone at his kitchen table, staring at his bank account, and realized something horrifying. If he lost his job, his entire life would begin collapsing within months. Not because he was lazy, not because he was irresponsible, because nobody had ever taught him the difference between making money and building wealth.
That night, Michael opened his banking app, then his credit card statements, then retirement accounts, then loan balances, then subscriptions, then insurance payments, then investment accounts he barely understood. And after nearly 4 hours, he leaned back in silence. Because for the first time in years, he saw the truth clearly. He was not building freedom. He was maintaining a lifestyle. And lifestyles are expensive.
The next morning, Michael met an older man named Robert Hayes. Most people ignored Robert because he looked ordinary. Simple clothes, old pickup truck, no luxury watch, no social media presence. But people who understood money paid very close attention when Robert spoke. Michael asked him, "What should I invest in?" Robert smiled slightly, then said something Michael never forgot. "The fact that you asked that question first is exactly why you're struggling financially." Michael looked confused. Robert continued, "People drowning financially always ask how to make more money. Wealthy people first learn why money keeps escaping." That sentence hit Michael hard, because deep down, he knew it was true. Robert asked him a simple question. "Do you know exactly where your money went last year?" Michael hesitated, then quietly answered, "Not exactly." Robert nodded slowly. "Then how can you control your future if you cannot explain your past?"
That same week, Robert gave Michael his first assignment. For the next 48 hours, do not try to make more money. Do not watch investing videos. Do not search for business ideas. Just do one thing. Track every dollar leaving your life. Michael thought the assignment sounded ridiculous, until he did it. Streaming subscriptions, food delivery, impulse Amazon purchases, unused memberships, tiny leaks everywhere.
None of those expenses looked dangerous individually. Together, they were silently destroying his future. That is the problem with financial destruction. It rarely arrives dramatically. It leaks quietly. John D. Rockefeller once said, "Do not work for money. Make money work for you." But most people never reach that stage because all their money disappears before it gets the chance. That week changed Michael psychologically, because for the first time, he stopped asking, "Why don't I make enough money?" and started asking, "Why does money disappear so easily?"
Within 3 months, Michael freed nearly $1,800 a month. Not by becoming miserable, not by acting poor, by removing waste. There is a difference. Cheap people remove joy. Smart people remove stupidity. But then came the dangerous phase. The phase where most people destroy progress. Impatience. Because once people realize they are financially behind, they become emotionally vulnerable. and emotional people make terrible investment decisions.
Suddenly, Michael started seeing opportunities everywhere. Guaranteed returns, passive income systems, double your money, financial freedom fast. Desperation makes foolish ideas look intelligent. One evening, an old co-worker called him. Private real estate deal, huge returns, limited time opportunity. Everybody smart is investing. Michael almost said yes, because fear creates urgency, and urgency destroys logic.
But then Michael remembered something Robert had told him earlier. If somebody pressures you to get rich quickly, they are usually trying to get rich quickly through you. So Michael paused, and that pause saved him thousands of dollars, because 8 months later, the project collapsed. That day, Michael learned something powerful. Benjamin Graham once said, "The essence of investment management is the management of risks, not the management of returns."
Most middle-class people focus only on returns. Smart people focus on survival first. Because if you cannot survive financially, you never stay in the game long enough to compound. That was when Robert introduced Michael to the most boring idea he had ever heard. Consistency. Not excitement, not predictions, not market timing. Consistency. Jesse Livermore once said, "The big money is not in the buying or the selling, but in the waiting."
Most people cannot tolerate waiting. They need movement, excitement, action, drama. That is why they constantly restart their financial lives. Michael stopped doing that. He automated investing, simplified accounts, reduced unnecessary spending, built emergency reserves, tracked expenses monthly, invested steadily. And then, he stopped touching everything.
At first, nothing happened. That frustrated him. 3 months, still ordinary. 6 months, still ordinary. 1 year, still ordinary. Then, something strange happened. His stress began disappearing. Not because he became rich, because he became stable. And stability changes the way a man thinks.
For years, Michael had made decisions from fear. Fear of losing status, fear of looking unsuccessful, fear of retirement, fear of emergencies, fear of judgment. But now, something changed. For the first time in decades, he felt control returning. That is when Robert taught him the lesson that changed everything permanently. Your paycheck is not your real wealth. Your habits are. 3 years later, Michael was not a millionaire. Not even close. But something far more important had happened. His future no longer terrified him. He had emergency savings, consistent investments, lower expenses, less debt, more control. And one quiet evening, sitting alone on his back porch during a thunderstorm, Michael realized something. For the first time in his adult life, he was not financially panicking in the background. And that is what real wealth feels like. Peace.